At 1:42 a.m., something scraped across my bedroom floor. Slow and deliberate. And I knew whoever was inside my house wasn't lost. I was 13, awake in the dark, counting breaths so I wouldn't make a sound. The noise stopped, inches from my door. My parents had driven 3 towns over for a charity banquet, leaving me with my older cousin Marco, who was supposed to stay. He didn't. He waited until their taillights vanished, told me he was stepping out for food, and promised he'd be back. I believed him, because I wanted to. I wanted the quiet, the space, the lie that nothing bad ever happens in familiar rooms. I tried to keep busy. I folded laundry I didn't need to fold. I watched the Weather Channel with the volume barely on. When the house started making its nighttime sounds, I blamed the ducts, the cooling walls, the wind pressing its palms to the siding. I locked the back door anyway. I forgot the front. The first sign was the dog next door. He started barking in short, broken bursts. Not frantic, just then came the soft clack of metal from the entryway, like someone testing a lock without committing. I told myself it was Marco, fumbling, annoyed. I texted him from the tablet we shared. No response. I didn't hear the door open. I felt it. The house shifted, the way it does when weight changes. Footsteps followed, careful and patient. Not the stride of someone who belonged. They moved room to room, pausing, listening. Whoever it was knew to stand still between sounds. I slid out of bed and crossed to the closet built into the wall, the one with the warped door that never quite shut. Inside were winter coats and a broken vacuum. I pulled the door until it kissed the frame and held it there with my fingers, muscles burning. From the gap, I watched the line of light from the hall creep under my door and stop. My doorknob turned, slowly. It clicked back when whoever tried realized it was locked. The scraping I'd heard earlier returned, closer now. Something was being dragged. A chair leg bumped the wall. I smelled sweat and dust. The door bowed inward. The lock was old. A credit card, a knife, a practiced hand, any of it would work. When it finally gave, the sound was small, almost. The intruder stepped in, and I saw his shoes first. Work boots, mud dried in pale crescents. He didn't rush. He stood, listening, like he could hear my heart. He went straight to my desk, drawers opened, closed. He lifted my backpack, weighed it, set it down. He crossed to the bed and pressed a hand to the mattress, feeling for warmth. I bit my tongue until I tasted copper. Then came the pivotal mistake. He opened the closet. I shoved back with everything I had. The door smacked his arm. He cursed, sharp and human, and grabbed for me. I kicked and slipped, falling over coats, the vacuum clattering. He yanked me out by the wrist. His face was close enough to smell cigarettes. He told me not to scream. I screamed anyway. He covered my mouth. The pressure was crushing, and I thought about teeth, about how much damage they could do. Somewhere, glass shattered. Maybe he kicked the lamp. Maybe I did. He dragged me toward the hall, toward the stairs. A car engine flared outside. Headlights swept the walls. Marco's voice cut through the house, loud and confused. The man froze. For a second, everything balanced on that sound. He let go. He ran, boots pounding, the front door slamming hard enough to rattle frames. Marco chased him onto the lawn, shouting, tripping. The man vaulted the fence and vanished into the drainage path behind the houses. The police came. They found the chair by my door, the bent lock, the mud prints. They found a screwdriver under my bed. They didn't find him. In the days that followed, detectives canvassed neighbors and asked questions that made my stomach twist. Had anyone noticed a white van? Had anyone seen a man watching houses? They photographed my wrist where bruises bloomed like ink in water. A crime scene tech dusted the closet handle and lifted a partial print from the vacuum's plastic. They told us the truth adults avoid with kids. If Marco hadn't come back when he did, the man might have taken me. The path behind the fence led to a service road and then the highway. It was an easy route. Too easy. School didn't pause. I sat through math with a bandage on my palm, listening for footsteps that weren't there. Friends asked what happened. I learned how to say, "It was nothing," and mean the opposite. The man was caught 3 weeks later after a homeowner fought back and triggered an alarm. He had a record for theft, not for violence. The detectives said escalation is common, like gravity. He took a plea. I never saw him again, but I read the statement he gave. He said he chose houses where someone would freeze. I didn't freeze. The house is someone else's now. The creek still runs. At night, when engines pass and headlights brush the walls of whatever room I'm in, my body remembers the pressure of a hand and the thin margin that kept me alive. Safety isn't a feeling you get back all at once. It's something you rebuild, lock by lock, breath by breath. It was a quiet, late afternoon when I realized my father had left for work earlier than usual, leaving me alone in our small apartment. My teenage cousin, Jake, was supposed to drop by after school, but I hadn't heard from him yet. The hum of the city outside was distant, almost. The apartment felt unusually silent, each of the floorboards echoing through the living room. I tried to focus on my homework, but the silence at me. Then came a soft knock at the door. I peeked through the peephole and saw Jake's familiar smile. "Hey, thought I'd check in while your dad's out," he said, casually leaning against the doorframe. His tone was friendly. Too friendly. I reminded him I wasn't allowed to open the door without Dad's permission. His smile didn't waver. "Relax, you know me. I just want to hang out. For a little while." His voice was calm. Almost my stomach tightened. Something about the way he insisted set my teeth on edge. Despite the unease, I let him in, telling him to wait in the living room while I finished my homework. He nodded, but followed anyway. He never let me leave his side. His gaze was calm, but there was of something darker I couldn't name. Suddenly, he blocked my path to the kitchen. "Don't try to run," he said quietly. Panic into me. He wasn't joking. My cousin, someone I had trusted for years, was holding me hostage in my own home. I froze, heart thinking about all the summer afternoons we had spent together, the games, the jokes, the small secrets. None of that mattered now. Then I noticed the apartment door's lock had been with scratch marks around the bolt. He had planned this. The thought hit me like ice. I couldn't just yell for help. He would stop me. I had to think. I had to stay calm. I feigned calm and suggested, "Hey, maybe we can play a board game in my room while I finish my homework?" I lured him away from the door, each step measured, careful not to show fear. Once inside my room, I the closet door and locked myself in. Curling into a corner, trying to make myself small, quiet. My fingers shook as I dug my phone from my backpack and dialed 9-1-1. Minutes felt like hours. Through the closet vents, I could hear Jake muttering about my dad keeping too much money, how he wouldn't let me get away, how it was all supposed to be simple, but now it was slipping. I held my breath, trying to make how could familiarity mask such intent. Then, the wail of sirens cut through the tension. Jake froze, panic flashing in his eyes. He bolted for the fire escape, but police officers were already there. He tried to flee, but they hit him before he could reach the street. Relief washed over me, but it was bitter and hollow. Jake's arrest shattered my sense of safety. The boy I had trusted, who had shared vacations and laughter, had plotted to trap me. That day, I learned a hard truth. Danger often wears a familiar face. Vigilance is not betrayal. It is survival. Now, every time I hear a knock at the door, my hands on the locks, I check every shadow, every smile. Trust can be the most dangerous gamble of all. I have survived, but I will never be naive again. Every quiet afternoon carries the echo of what could have happened. Fear lingers, not in strangers, but in those who wear familiarity like a mask, hiding intent beneath a smile.